here today. Welcome to what has become now a highlight of Alumni Weekend, the Athletic Hall of Fame. This year, our second class is being inducted. It includes 5 incredible performers, both from the classroom and the field. We have the following classes represented today. Class of 55, 71, 75, 97, and 03. Our inductees started in the following sports here at Blair: football, wrestling, track, field hockey, basketball, and softball. And they went on to become a member of the college football All-American team and an Army Colonel, an NCAA Wrestling National Champion, and Blair Volunteer of the Year Award recipient. The first and only female athlete so far in Blair's history to receive the Dowling Prize, the school's top athletic prize, and become a Blair faculty member. A softball RBI record holder at Brown University, and two-time NBA All-Star, philanthropist, and human rights advocate. We have an extraordinary group of people who we're honoring here today. I'm going to turn this over to Paul Clavel, our athletic director, who's completing his first year. He's done a spectacular job this year, and he's going to lead us through the ceremony today. Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Fortunato. And again, welcome family, friends, alumni, and members of the Board of Trustees to the second Blair Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. This is an exciting time to recognize the tremendous Blair athletes who have been the foundation of the great athletic tradition at Blair. And I'm looking forward to adding their names to the new Hall of Fame board hanging outside the trophy cases outside in the performance gym. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee of Craig Hall, Director of Development, Jim Frick, Chief Operating Officer, Tammy Finley, former Administrative Assistant, Jenny Main, Director of Alumni Relations, and Brian Antonelli, Assistant Athletic Director, as well as the selection committee of former athletic directors John Frere, Dan Hazen, and Jim Stone, Vice President of the Board of Governors and Blair class of 1969, Bob Van Stone, and longtime coaches and teachers, Marty Miller and Carolyn Conforti-Browse. Thank you all for your work. The purpose behind the Athletic Hall of Fame is to recognize and honor those alumni and coaches whose athletic accomplishments have been the highest caliber and who have brought great credit to Blair Academy. Like Mr. Fortunato said, this year we are thrilled to present a tremendous group of athletes that spread through generations and decades and who have competed in many different sports at high levels, both at Blair, in college, and beyond. Robert Overgrass, class of 1955. Michael Lieberman, class of 1971. Laura Cochran-Morris, class of 1975. Tammy Parrott, class of 1997. And Noel Deng, class of 2003. And now, to present the first inductee today is for Mike Lieberman, and there will be Blake Johnstone, who is an attorney from Meth Vessel and Werble Firm, and a member of the Blair class of 1968. Also, Stephen Kling, who worked for Alter G, and a member of the Blair class of 1971. Blake and Stephen were classmates and teammates of Mike while at Blair. First up will be Blake Johnston.
Pleasantly surprised a couple of months ago when Mike gave me a call and asked me to attend this wonderful ceremony. And I couldn't believe that 50 years had passed since I first met Mike. When I came to Blair, I was a postgraduate. I was here just for 1 year. And that 1 year did a lot for me. But I remember coming to the campus in September of 1967. And did not know anybody on the campus, did not know my teammates or whatnot. Came out on the football field, everybody was in white jerseys and whatnot, and we were immediately put into pads having 2- and 3-day sessions. End result of which is after a couple of days we started having hard hitting, and I remember, I was playing as a fullback at that point in time, running live plays, and all of a sudden I'm getting clobbered by this big skinny kid. And I'm looking at this kid, I'm knocking him on his butt, he's knocking me on my butt, and I remember walking over to one of the other guys and saying, "Who's that kid?" And I said, "Is he a junior or senior?" And they looked at me and said, "No, man, that's a freshman." And I was shocked, okay? Here was this tall, muscular, yet skinny kid who showed no fear about being out on a football field as a freshman playing a game with a bunch of people that were 2 or 3 years older than him. The end result of which is Mike Lieberman at that point in time showed right from the very beginning that he had the tenacity to be a tremendous athlete. The real question was what he was going to specialize in. I remember Coach Barry Bates and John Frere raving about Mike Lieberman as a freshman, of course, as the year went on. And Mike got better every time we played a game. I mean, this kid was just incredible in terms of what he could pick up in such a short period of time. By the end of the year, Barry Bates and John Frere were convinced that they finally had a Division I football player, okay, and playing for them and was going to be there with them for the next 3 years. Unfortunately for them, they made a mistake of encouraging Mike to go out for a sport called wrestling. And their idea was, great thing to do, Mike. You'll learn how to adapt on a wrestling field, you'll have balance, you'll have speed, so on and so forth. And I also encouraged Mike. I figured, hey, why not? We could use a great athlete out there on the wrestling mat. So we got out to the wrestling mat in the winter of 1968. And what was amazing is Mike Lieberman did not know the first thing about wrestling. He didn't even know how to stand. He didn't know how to get down into position. He had never been on a wrestling mat before. And I had 2 coaches at that point, Coach Brooks and Coach Dowling. And they knew right away that Mike had talent. They had heard about Mike from football because he had been an incredible football player the entire time he had played, had a very successful season, and they were high on Mike. They came to me because I was a heavyweight at that point in time. They said, we want you to wrestle with Mike all year long. You do whatever you have to do, teach him whatever you can, show him no mercy. End result of which is Mike and I spent the winter and early spring here at Blair Academy learning how to wrestle. And let me tell you something. When I say he didn't know anything at the very beginning, that was true. But let me say this to you. By the end of the year, even though I was 25, 30 pounds heavier than Mike Lieberman, Mike was giving me a challenge out there on the wrestling mat. That's how good Mike became during that period of time. Again, he was showing the fact that he refused to give. He got frustrated out there, he ranted and raved, but the point I want to make is he was striving for perfection. He did not like losing. Well, that served him very well, as we all know, because Mike then thereafter went on to Lehigh University, had a great, obviously, a great time here at the Blair Academy. And the end result of all the work that he put in was the fact that he became a national champion at Lehigh University in 1977. A remarkable accomplishment at that point in time in his career from a kid that didn't even know what wrestling was less than 5 or 6 years before. I can honestly say that Mike is probably one of the most competitive people I've ever met out on the athletic field, yet at the same time one of the most sincere gentlemen that you could ever ask. He was a tremendous person to know in his early years, and he ended up being a tremendous athlete. I know his parents were extremely proud of him, and I know his brother Mark followed in his footsteps for a remarkable career as well. Finally, I just want to say this. In his first year as a freshman, he ended up 3rd in the States as a freshman. 3rd in the States. A kid that did not know anything about wrestling. It was a remarkable accomplishment. He came to Lehigh University, and he never quit. Never quit, and ended up, as I indicated, national champion. But what made me think of Mike as standing out is no matter what he did, he always strove for perfection. Never quit, never got there necessarily, but he always strove for it. And that, to me, is what I think makes an ideal athlete, and that's what Mike was. And I find it remarkable because I was looking at the resume that was given out for these people, and one word stood out in there. Is the fact that Mike Lieberman came to the Blair Academy, was here for 4 years, and had perfect attendance. Perfect attendance. Now here we are in the middle of nowhere, Blairstown, New Jersey. At that time, Blair Academy was all-boys school. There was nothing to do up here. But Mike, for whatever reason, was able to continue on that goal of being perfect. And just a clear example of that is the fact that he had perfect attendance in everything that he did at this campus. He is, as far as I'm concerned, somebody that deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, not only for the fact that he was a tremendous athlete, but also the fact that he was able to have perfect attendance here. Thank you.
Okay, so you guys have a twofer for Mike. Just want to say that I roomed with Mike for 3.5 years beginning in September of 1966. When he became a prefect, I continued to be his non-prefect roommate for a while until they found a place for me somewhere. I wish I could come up with an anecdote about Mike that would make people chuckle, but I have no dirt, just admiration. We shared vacations, trips home, holidays. I came to know the warmth and the strength of his family and their legacy. Were there wild parties and pranks and embarrassing, blatant examples of adolescent poor judgment? Yes. Was Mike there? No. How do I know this? Figure it out. If there were a Hall of Fame for knuckleheads, I could be on the nominating committee. Some might argue I'd be on the short list. So it's an honor that Mike invited me to say a few words for him. The list of Mike's credentials and accomplishments is extraordinary, yet I knew Mike as a roommate, and the depth of his character is equally impressive. He's one of the most honorable men I know. It's his instinct to be supportive and uplifting. Just like a rising tide will lift all boats equally, Mike's impact as a friend and teammate has always had the ability to elevate those around him. He's been an individual performer on a team, and he's distinguished himself as an individual and enhanced the team, the whole being a wonderful thing. So his competitive determination was framed by a commitment to fairness and the rules. Not a desire to destroy or annihilate the enemy. He has always encouraged others to do their best, but on any given day, he has wanted to be the best there, and he's worked for that. And I would say he's attained it. Practice and improvement make you better, and in times where it counts, they can make you the best. He's been an example of this. Winston Churchill said that the Battle of Britain was won on the playing fields of Eton. It can be said that the challenges of our lives have been won on the playing fields of Blair. We've learned fairness, friendship, loyalty, competition, compassion, commitment. Most of these lessons and examples for these things we've gleaned from our relationships with our peers. We've also encountered from our teachers and from the general community facts and knowledge and concepts that matter from time to time, but the most important gift we have is the people who have inspired and affirmed us for what we know to be right and good. This is what I think of when I think of Mike Reed. And he is on my personal Hall of Fame. So I just want to welcome the Blair community to honor him for that.
Stephen, Blake, thank you. Appreciate it. To the Blair community. Many thanks to the Hall of Fame committee. I'm humbled and honored by your selection of me. I'm further humbled by the impressive group of inductees this morning. Moreover, I've always been proud to be associated with Blair Academy and what my coming to Blair Academy has meant in my life. I want to recognize my family today, who have been very kind to come. My beautiful wife, Molly. My sister, Karen, is here. My brother, Mark. I appreciate it greatly. I want to recognize Chris Ford, not Mary Ann. Mary Morgan. Well, you made it. You made it. And Chris Fortunato for his kind words and for being here. We're really thrilled. thrilled that he is our head of school. Paul Clavel, Blair finally got it right. We have a wrestler. We have a wrestler who's the AD. I think that's great. Comes from a great family of Clavels and wrestlers. On my 45th anniversary in June of 2016, I was treated to my younger brother's induction into the inaugural Hall of Fame here at Blair, and it was really moving for me. To Attorney Blake Johnstone, of us, in practice in the summer of '67, 50 years ago, I would try to avoid one-on-one drills with him. He would rather run over people than hit people. If it weren't enough, he convinced me to go out for wrestling, and of course, he was my workout partner. He was a postgraduate, 18 years old. I was a freshman, 15. Obviously, it was pretty ugly for me for most of that year. Blake set not only records here at Blair, but had his eye on Lehigh University, and they had their eye on him. He became captain of the defense in college, and then recruited me to his fraternity when I got to school. Blake went on, like his father, to a successful practice right here in the great state of New Jersey, as was his father, and I greatly appreciate his words. Stephen Kling and I set a record here at Blair, as he noted, probably never to be matched for being roommates for 4 years here at Blair. I don't know how we survived. It was unprecedented. Stephen's a good friend, a classmate, and a workout partner. Stephen is too humble to admit that he was one of the best students recruited in his class. He would challenge me frequently on my word selection, as his father did for him, to improve my vocabulary. Among other things, he and I sometimes would wrestle or battle in our room until we would fall asleep. I'm honored at his presence and his comments as well. You know, my father and mother, my mother just died recently, but my father and mother would have loved to have been here this morning. They're great fans of Blair, and what it accomplished for 3 of their 4 children. My sister Marianne, who is here this morning, and continues the legacy with 2 children attending Blair. One just graduated. We're thrilled about that, and then she sits on the board of trustees. Now part of the inaugural class, I have to credit my brother, Mark, as being a wonderful workout partner. Been a great friend throughout my formative years, and I'm glad he came to Blair. I'm very humbled. I came from really very humble beginnings in athletics here at Blair. All I had was promise. But Blair offered me the opportunity to grow and express my talents. And for many students at Blair, because of its size and athletic offerings, it provides the start, as it did for me. For all those current students, and for those who have had the good fortune to attend Blair, we know that teachers and coaches put their whole being into their careers for their students. And I see this in evidence today in our administrators and teachers that populate our school. These are men and women who are unaware of the clock. 60 and 70-hour work weeks probably are routine for most of them, and never fully appreciated the sacrifices they made on our behalf. I know the selection committee had a very difficult task arriving at just 5 in this class of inductees. However, there are those who I hope will be considered in the very near future. These are coaches who have made the difference in the lives of so many youth. Baseball coach, Rick Stahl comes to mind. Bob Dowling, who was mentioned earlier as our head wrestling coach, never took a dime for his service to the young people at Blair. John and Penny Frere, coached in multiple sports and our athletic director. I wish he had been here today. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary in Spain. These are men and women who worked tirelessly for students in the 60s and 70s. These are great Americans, teachers, selfless individuals that were attracted to Blair. These are outstanding Americans, and they ought to be simultaneously elected along with great athletes to our great hall. Finally, in 4 years at Blair, students do a lot of growing up. Relationships are made, responsibilities are faced. Students must reach out to trust and depend on others. You learn to make decisions, face challenges, and rise up. It truly is preparatory for what is to come. Again, I want to thank the committee for their time that it's taken to arrive at just 5 of us. I know that there are so many others equally deserving to be part of this great Hall of Fame, and I look forward to their induction in the very near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Now, presenting for Laura Cocker-Morris is Lisa Garner. Lisa Garner is a teacher for the visually impaired for the Palm Beach County School District in Florida and founder of the I Can Swim School for the visually impaired and blind. She was a member of the Blair class in 1977 and was Laura's teammate on the field hockey, basketball, and softball teams. Lisa Garner.
World famous snooker player Ken Doherty once said, "The 5 S's of sports training are stamina, speed, strength, skill, and spirit. But the greatest of these is spirit." And Laura personifies the true spirit of a champion. Whether it be as a beloved daughter, sister, teammate, co-worker, friend, spouse, or most importantly, a mom, Laura's hard work and dedication have enabled her to be successful in every facet of her life. According to her brother Chip, Laura just doesn't know the meaning of the word can. Laura's tenacious spirit is undoubtedly a result of the unconditional love and support she received from her 2 incredible parents, Jim and Shirley. They were truly her biggest fans and did everything humanly possible to foster her talent and make her strive for academic and athletic excellence. Laura's dad, Jim, would frequently shout pointers to her throughout the duration of a basketball game, or frequently take her to the old gym to practice her basketball techniques. In order for Laura to participate in her multitude of athletic, academic, and extracurricular activities, her mom spent endless hours in the car transporting her to and from Hackettstown. However, as a player, her mom's biggest contribution to the team was that of snack mom. Shirley worked in the kitchen at M&M Mars, and every Wednesday she would bring home whatever concoctions had not made the cut, and then somehow managed to get to us at the team. As Jim and Shirley so selfishly supported Laura in all of her endeavors, she always supported her teammates and ours. As the saying goes, there's no I in team, and Laura was the epitome of a true champion and teammate. Although she had the skill and was usually in the right place at the right time to take a shot in any of her sports, she passed the ball to us. Whoever had the best opportunity of scoring, she would always be not selfish and always pass the ball. As a team leader, she always had her backs. Whenever a teammate was in need and became a victim of maybe an overly aggressive opponent, like the redheaded from high school, or the high stick wielding halfback from New York Academy, Laura had this uncanny way of discreetly, yet diplomatically, de-escalating the situation and returning some decorum to the game. While jogging around the indoor track in the old gym, Laura never slowed down to check out the wrestlers like the rest of us. She just kept running faster. As a team captain, she would devise plays to maximize the talents of her teammates, such as the infamous fast break, where she would rebound the ball, hurl it to me at the other end of the court, and then pray that I would make the layup. The other thing, basic play, one of her other strategies, she taught all of the basketball players how to set picks using the pillars which ran down the center of St. Elizabeth's basketball court. Her knack for problem solving and thinking outside the box is also what made her an effective coach. Thanks to our dear friend Debbie Miller-Kling, Laura and I began our coaching careers together. Debbie's boss, the director of the Hackettstown Parks and Recreation Department, was frantically looking for 2 people to coach a softball team. For a group of girls whose parents had missed the deadline for summer registration, and they wanted her and their team and their girls to make sure that they were on the league or else. So as most of you know, it's virtually impossible for Debbie Miller-Kling to resist her. So Laura and I reluctantly agreed to do it. Since our group was a last-minute addition to the League of Colors, there were no longer any primary colors left for us to select, so we became known as the Black Team. We were in the 7 to 11-year-old division, and our youngest player had just turned 8. Little did we know at the time, the vast majority of our kids didn't know the difference between a baseball, a softball, a mitt, a mitten, or a diamond versus a square. We really made the Bad News Bears look like the New York Yankees. While challenging our inner Jan Hutchinson, Laura and I taught, drilled, and ran those kids ragged. Shirley fed them well. Jim gave us coaching pointers all season long. Winless going into our final game against the division leaders, Laura rallied the troops around and she gave her best kid version of a Bear Bryant speech. Hey kids, you got spirit? We got to start hearing it. All of a sudden, the kids got pumped up. Shirley's out manning the snacks. Jim's getting his place ready, but the only thing we missed was the other team. So Laura and I looked at each other and were like, well, what are we going to do now? Obviously, we went to Jim. He was ready with his playbook, and he said, gee, dogs, looks like you guys finally won your first game. After that, we did what every other championship caliber team would do. We went to the Dairy Queen. Although our little sluggers may have lacked a little bit of stamina, speed, strength, and in the skills department that year, they did possess the most important quality of them all, spirit, and they have my friend Laura to thank for that. As evidenced by her 12 varsity letters, captainship of the varsity field hockey, basketball, and softball teams, and a member of the New Jersey all-area teams in field hockey and basketball, Laura proved to be a force to be reckoned with. As if those accomplishments weren't enough, she was the first woman ever in Blair's history to receive the coveted Robert Dowling Prize, the school's top athlete, in addition to winning the William Zester Award for Female Athlete of the Year. To end her illustrious Blair career, she received the Blair Academy Trophy, which is awarded to the member of the senior class for the highest all-round achievement. If you would like to learn more about all of Laura's accomplishments, please refer to the 10-page insert in your programs. With all kidding aside, as a former teammate and lifelong friend, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for asking me to be a part of this special day. On behalf of your parents, Jim and Shirley, who have been totally over the moon, your family, teammates, and friends, I would like to congratulate you on this very prestigious honor and share with you just a few words, I promise. For Jan, her favorite coach, mentor, and friend, Jan Hutchinson. Good morning, Laura. I'm sorry I wasn't able to be here this morning as I'm currently out of the country on vacation. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you and all of the other inductees on well-deserved honor that you will be receiving today. In the early 70s, when I was graduating from East Stroudsburg University, Blair announced its intentions to add women to its enrollment that fall. I was hired as the athletic program director and completely found scrambling to try to start teams in field hockey, softball, and basketball. Keep in mind, at that time, there were only 30 females in all of Blair's community. Fortunately for me, they were very gifted athletes like Laura Cochran, Lisa Garner, Ann Kramer, and Janet Jones, to name a few. Laura had such an incredible impact on me as a new young coach in all the women's programs at Blair. She excelled at all 3 sports and led those teams to much success. Laura and her teammates were driven, dedicated, passionate, and very talented. While working with them, I learned how much I love coaching, and our Blair successes allowed me to move on to my coaching career at 33 years. Thank you, Laura, for the impact you left on Blair Academy, for your impact on Jan's life, and on continued friendship that the two of you shared today. Congratulations on this richly deserved honor. Enjoy every minute of this wonderful day. I wish you the best, Jan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to present to you Laura Cochran-Moore.
Introduction. It was very special having Lisa here to do this for me today. Lisa and I we grew up in Hackettstown. We worked together at the Hackettstown pool every summer. We played all 3 sports here at Blair together. She's a lifelong friend. We were in each other's weddings, and as she told you, we coached together, and we were very close. We worked it with Debbie Kling-Miller, who's here today, and we were all just so happy to have, so honored to have you guys here with me today, and thank you so much for that introduction. I want to thank my family for being here today. My husband Larry, my kids Rebecca and Colby, my other kid Ryan, my brother Chip, my sister-in-law Amy, my niece and nephew Cameron and Christian. Thank you so much for being here today. I am so completely humbled, honored, and feel incredibly blessed to be here today and inducted into Blair's Hall of Fame. I especially want to thank Mr. Fortunato, Mr. Clavell, the nominating committee for their decision to have me here today. This is a privilege and an honor that I'm going to cherish always and deeply. To be part of this incredibly talented class, Lowell, Mike, Tamara, Bob, this is so humbling, and congratulations to each of you for your extraordinary contributions to our beloved Blair. All the sports I played here were team sports, so we know no team or athlete successful without having a we and us mentality. So I owe all of my teammates over those years a huge debt of gratitude and thanks, and I remember them all so fondly and the great times we shared. We all know and agree that Blair is an incredibly amazing, special place. I'm thankful for what I believe is a very unique opportunity in that I was here as a student and an athlete, but also came back right after Bucknell to teach here with Elliot, I see. and then was able to go on and coach here, and then be on the Board of Governors and the Board of Trustees. And these allowed me to be fortunate enough to keep my ties with Blair alive and continue to witness in different ways and at different times and in different roles just how incredibly amazing and important the job Blair does in shaping the lives of young people as it did mine. The lessons I learned here at Blair in those formative years, you have to remember, like you're 15 to 18 years old, those were the most profound years that had the biggest impact on me in my life. I came here, and in the first year that they had women as boarding students, my grandfather and my father both graduated from Blair, so I was so excited to follow in their footsteps. The lessons I learned here, the teachers I had, the friends, the teammates, it was an inspiring environment to say the least. From Jim Howard, John and Penny Frere, Ferd Marciel and his wife Joan, who on the first day arriving, Ferd Marciel was my dad's housemaster. My first day arriving and driving up through the arch, Ferd gets out of the car, sees my dad, and they offered me a room in their house. I was a day student. I stayed here overnight a lot, but I had my own room over at the Marciels. So that to have those people in my life, Pete Hahn, Dennis and Lynn Peachy, it was just, and then the women that they put in place here to welcome us, Selena Howard, Jan Hutchison, Penny Frere, Lois Underwood, all these strong, classy women full of compassion, character, drive, integrity, and the lessons that they shared with us. These people guided and molded us, and I just couldn't be more thankful to be a part of that time when it was such an enthusiastic and optimistic welcoming of women to Blair's lifestyle. There are three people really, and oddly brief, that I would like to acknowledge and thank, that when I reflect back on my life, there were really three people that influenced me more than anyone to teach me about sports, but more importantly, all the life lessons that come along with being an athlete and had the most profound influence on me. First was Jan Hutchison, my coach, my mentor, my friend. She inspired me and my teammates with her dedication to excellence in sports. She pushed us very, very hard. She demanded our best in all things, both on the court, off the court, as athletes, as people, as good citizens. She expected high moral character, integrity, really good grades, and dedicated involvement in all aspects of life at Blair. She, the only thing I can say that we didn't go so well is she decided several of us were going to start a cheerleading team for Blair, and she was going to be a cheerleading coach. We talked about this recently on the phone, and that didn't last long because we realized that I wasn't cut out for that, neither was she, and so that we kind of quickly got off of that page, thankfully. But she pushed me to physical accomplishments that I never thought I could achieve, and she always did it with such guidance, patience, but with a faith that she knew you could do better. Like, she knew what we were capable of more than we did. And honestly, because she believed in me, I believed in me. And my goal I set out was to just do everything I could not to disappoint Jan. The second person that's had such a profound impact is my dear friend Mark Lieberman. World-class wrestler, is competing internationally. He was inducted here last year. He was one of my closest, dearest friends. And seriously, how lucky was I to learn from Mark. And Mark would always talk to me about the mental side of the game, and that when I went out there, it was all 90% mental. And one of the things he taught me, which I know people, get there in their lives, but you gotta remember, we're 15 to 18 years old, he taught me to truly embrace my failures. Because it was in the losses, and that when I would analyze my losses, not my wins, but my losses, that I would truly grow and improve. And equally importantly, he taught me to always set high goals. That there was no goals too high, and never to ever set anything that was realistic or attainable. Like, why would you want to reach a goal? So he always taught me to set goals that I was never going to reach. And I carry those words from Mark, all of those lessons throughout my life, and I thank you deeply for your friendship and this wisdom. Lastly, my mom and dad, for all the sacrifices they made for me to attend Blair. Lisa talked about some of them, but especially my dad. He was my absolute biggest fan. And he always has been and always will be my hero in all ways. He taught me to love basketball. He played at Blair, he played after college, he played semi-pro, always making sure he told everybody he played against Bob Cousy. Dad encouraged me, he coached me, often to Jan's dismay, as Lisa also mentioned, from the sidelines, and as we were trying to go back and start the game, he'd be like, one more thing, and she let him do it. He consoled me, motivated me, and no one is happier than he is looking down today, or is more proud. Thank you again for this wonderful honor. I am so truly overcome with gratitude and so humbled and blessed. Thank you.
Up next, presenting for Tammy Parrott, is Carolyn Conforti-Browse. Carolyn is a Blair alum, class of 1979. She is currently Blair's Director of Leadership Programs, an English teacher, and varsity softball coach for the past 30 years. Coach Conforti-Browse.
Begin by saying how wonderful it is to be in this room with so many former Blair athletes. Charlie Underwood used to say that Alumni Day was just one of the most wonderful occasions because you got to see all grown up, so many Blair faces, and you were so proud of what all the Blair alums are doing out in the world. And I would certainly echo that, and on behalf of the faculty, feel that every Alumni Day. I'm going to just abuse the privilege of the microphone for 1 second to go off script, and I want to just have us clap for, were there ever a Hall of Fame, Blair Sports of Fame for favorite fans? We would induct Jim over here. Would you stand for a second, Jim? Secret global scout, because if you're playing in Connecticut, he's there. If you're in Florida, he's there. If you're wherever you are, for all teams. And thank you for that. Thank you for representing Blair in such a wonderful way to our current athletes over the years. Unfortunately, Tammy could not be here today because of family conflict. I don't want to shortchange her, but I have sent her lengthier comments about her prowess as an athlete. The many teammates and former coaches who wrote to me on her behalf all hit the same themes in a chorus of describing Tammy as simply stronger, faster, better than everyone else from day one as a freshman, a theme we've heard with some of the other great athletes up here. Tammy was also, I would say, the epitome of a great athlete. As one of her teammates wrote, you were absolutely terrified if you ever had to partner with her. If she were hitting a field hockey ball in your direction or throwing a softball at your face, you aged 10 years. However, as a great athletes learn to adjust, and great athletes figure out how to win. And that was the essence of Tammy. If she threw it 50% speed to one person on the team and 110% to the other person on the team, she knew how to make adjustments on the fly to win for Blair. She was a consummate teammate. She has achieved her dream, as she says, largely because of the tenacity and the traits she learned on the Blair courts and fields. She is now a veterinarian out in Colorado and also running triathlons and coaching both field hockey, basketball, and softball in youth programs. Yes, she set records at Blair. She set many more records at Brown University. A leader and a simply amazing person. Please put your hands together and congratulate Tammy Harris.
Thank you, Carolyn. And now to present for Llewellyn Day is Joe Mantegna. Joe is Blair's Associate Director of College Counseling and has been Blair's basketball coach for 19 years. Coach Joe Mantegna.
I don't use a microphone in this gym. I want to thank all the founding fathers, the founding people of modern Blair basketball that all came here to support Llewellyn for being here. Our hyper admissions person, Peter Curran back there, on a weekly basis, he brings me families that want to come and play basketball at Blair. And invariably, we end up in this gym looking up there. And invariably, the kids or the parents will say to me, "Do you think I can play basketball someday like one of those guys?" And invariably, I say no. But what I do say is you can conduct yourself like Llewellyn Day. You can have humility so that everyone in the school will respect you. You can be selfless so that your teammates love you. You can be a great teammate so you rally those people around you. You can be joyous so that the entire experience is fun and eventful and meaningful. And finally, you can show gratitude on a daily basis for your mentors, for your school, for your teammates. And if you show that kind of gratitude, your life will be full. And that's what I say to the parents and to the students that look up there. Don't try to play basketball like this guy. It's going to be very, very hard. But there's no reason you cannot live your life the way he lived his life here, before he came here, and the way he continues to live his life is what I try to put up on a pedestal. Many people think he should be in the Hall of Fame because he's an NBA All-Star, which is phenomenal. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame because he's a winner. He's the all-time leading scorer at Blair. He's also the all-time winningest player at Blair. He's a McDonald's All-American, a Parade All-American, 7th pick in the draft, ACC All-Defensive Player, Final Four participant. You know what I say? He's the NBA Humanitarian Award winner. Way more important. And I tell him this all the time. I love him. And I'll tell you why I love him. I don't love him because we won 1 million games together. And I don't love him because he scored 1 million points. Although it was fun. We rocked it up and down the East Coast, taking on all covers. That was fun. But that's not why I love him. The reason I love him is because he's been impactful to this school. He's made an impact on so many of these guys that are here to support him. And he's been incredibly impactful in my life, my family's life, the life of so many South Sudanese immigrant people. It's It's been amazing the impact he's had on this world, on this school, and on my family. And so it is my honor to announce Lou Alden and to welcome him here, 2017 Blair Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thank you. I think Coach took my speech. That's exactly how I was going to talk about myself. I'm really, I don't know where to start. I'm really thankful. I think when I walked in, just seeing everybody's faces, everyone that, we went to school together, all the teachers that helped me. To me, it brings back so many memories. And every time I see somebody, it's just, I guess, the way I remember things. I just remember the good times. And as soon as I see familiar faces, I just started, kind of just, I'm happy inside. I just start smiling. And this is so interesting to me because when I walked in, I saw Mr. Kaplan. And I don't know if Mr. Kaplan just walked out, but I can't tell you what class it was. I don't know whether it was an English class or a film class. I don't know what it was, but I remember we had to give a speech in class, and we had to stand up in front of everybody in class and give a speech. And I remember I showed up to class, and it was my turn. It was my day to give a speech. And the whole time in my room, I kept practicing this speech and how I was going to deliver the speech in class. And I remember going up in class in front of everybody, and I couldn't say a word. And when I walked in and I saw him, I'm thinking to myself, I went on to speak in front of so many people. But the hardest time, or the hardest time to give a speech is when you're talking in front of people that you don't care about. And I have so many stories to tell, but I would just start with my first day at Blair, just to give everybody what was going on through my mind when I first came to Blair. I was with my sister. We landed at Newark Airport. I think the flight was delayed, and as I remember, it was late. I'm not sure exactly the time, but I would say around 11 p.m. late at night. And we land, and we know we're going to high school in New Jersey. Never been to America. Never really left my family behind. But I decided this is what I was going to do. And I wanted to do it not only just for me, but my family wanted me to be with my sister. Because she really, really wanted to play basketball. And she wanted to come to Blair. And for me, it meant a lot to me just to go with her, play basketball, but also be there with her and knowing that that's what she wanted. When we got to Blair, when we got to the airport, we waited for our luggage, and it took forever. I don't know why, but I was just so nervous in my bag. I'm waiting for this bag to come because everything that I have is in that bag. So we're waiting for the bag. Finally, the bags arrived, and we get in the car. And I remember on our way to Blair from Newark Airport, it felt like the longest drive ever. And I would look outside my window, and all I saw was just trees. It's dark and it's trees. And I remember in my native language, I turned to my sister, and I said, if anything happened, I got him. I got the driver. I just started, growing up, I watched a lot of scary movies. And all I could think about was, where am I going? It just started turning into one of those movies. So we get to Blair finally. I get out the car, and there was this loud noise, and I couldn't understand it. I lived. There's this loud noises, and I'm just growing up. I grew up in Africa. I lived in England. I never heard it. I don't know why, but I just never heard it. And I remember just thinking, what is this? And I just kept hearing this noise. We get to the dorm, Coach Montagna and Miss Montagna are waiting up for us. By now it's about 1:30, maybe 2 a.m. And they're waiting for us, and we get in. And I walked into the dorm, we dropped off my sister. I walked into the dorm, Coach lived in my dorm at the time. And the first thing he says to me is, "That's all you came with?" This is the bag that I've been waiting for 2 hours. I just came with a book bag, and my mom had me almost dressed similar to this. I had to wear a suit, because she always thought, you know, how you present yourself is the image that, you know, you're gonna have. So I show up with my suit, and I had nothing else, and he shows me my room, and there's my bed. There's no bed sheets, there's nothing. And I really thought, coming to Blair, you get a room with everything. I thought there was gonna be a TV, there's gonna be a cleaning service. And at the time, Coach obviously gave me bed sheets and everything, and I went to sleep. I woke up in the morning, and there's a kid in my dorm that I'm still close friends with, and I'm actually in his wedding soon, by the name of Richie Yu. Richie Yu was from Singapore, and Richie Yu has went and got all the Asian kids together, obviously having the last name Deng. They all thought I was Chinese again. When I woke up in the morning and I came out of my dorm, there was a party for me with all the Asian kids there. Waiting for Michael Deng. A lot of you guys don't know, but when I came to Blair, my name was Michael Deng. Yeah, weird story. So I get out and, you know, Richie looks at me and he's like, "You're not Michael Deng, are you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm Michael Deng." And he said, "Oh, we all thought you were from China." And you know, I told him, "No, I'm not. I'm actually African." I don't know if you can tell or not. But to make a long story short, we went on and we had a party, and a lot of these guys are still my friends, and we always share the story. But it just, you know, to me, it just shows how much everybody in Blair is a family. And it's something that I could never, ever explain to people, how I felt coming here and how I still feel. There's so many people for me to thank. I don't even know where to start. I could go on forever. I could name all my teammates and, you know, tell a story about each individual and how they helped me be here. I could say the same thing of all my teachers. But obviously the closest person I was to and still is Coach Montagna. And if you look at, you know, our basketball team and how we started and where we are now, and everybody that played in the team, we all have Coach Montagna characters, or the way he carries himself, or how he's always trying to help everybody, how he motivates all of us. And I think coming into Blair, being 14 years old, I could honestly say that, you know, he helped me become the man that I am today. And I think about it a lot. A lot of times when I'm out there and I'm playing basketball, or I'm giving speech in front of the UN, or I'm working with a World Food Program, or whatever I'm doing, I always, in the back of my mind, always want to make him proud. And when you have that, and when you have people like that in your life, I think it always helps you do the right thing, and you always want to impress. So I never know how to say thank you to him, and to a lot of people that helped me. A lot of times I could come to you and just say thank you, but it might not show how much it means to me. And for Blair Academy, I want to thank you for everything. A kid that, you know, grew up in South Sudan, left because of the war that's still going on, and moving on to London. Just to come here and just to be welcomed by everybody, and to be now a Hall of Famer here, it just says a lot about my journey, and it says a lot about Blair welcoming me in. So again, I just want to say thank you, and for everyone that came here to see me today, it means a lot to me. Thank you very much.
pretty kind. And now to present Robert Novogratz is John Novogratz. John is Bob's third son and is the global head of capital development and investor development at Millennium Management. John Novogratz.
I'd actually like to start this by thanking my brother Matt, who got late here, got stuck in traffic. So instead of going first, I had to go get after an all-world basketball player and an all-world coach and speaker. Killing me. All right. I could sit here and start this and say, you know, what a great and wonderful I love you man story about my father. I'm one of his 7 kids. I was lucky enough to rock, paper, scissors on being speaker tonight. My dad came to Blair via Northampton, Pennsylvania. Many of you wrestlers here probably know Northampton for its wrestling, but it's one of the great cement capitals of Pennsylvania. They provided a lot of the cement, most of the cement for the Panama Canal, the U.S. highway system. Bob played football at, easy there, little one. It's my niece. Bob played football there at Northampton, but he wasn't physically big enough. He wasn't physically or academically ready for college. He wasn't recruited by anyone. My great aunt, his aunt Mary Polzer, helped my father. She introduced him to Coach Steve Cook here at Blair. And with $3,500 he had saved working 3 jobs in high school, which was a lot of money back then. And with help from a teammate's father for financial aid, he was lucky enough to follow his cousins John and Freddie Polzer here to Blairstown. Like I said, he played football in high school, but he had never wrestled, he had never done track. I don't know if it's something in the water here or the spectacular coaches more likely here at Blair, but my dad was lucky enough to play football on the high school team, an undefeated team. He wrestled and was lucky enough to be the heavyweight wrestler on the high school team. And in track and field, he threw the discus and won the state championships in his 1 year here at Blair. After his time here, he received an appointment to West Point from Congressman Francis E. Walters. He didn't play much his first two years in college, but because he had injured, got surgery. But by the end of his sophomore year, he went from the bottom of the rung to starting left guard and linebacker at West Point. His 1958 team was undefeated, their last great undefeated team at Army. They were ranked 3rd in the nation. Bob, a big man, as we call him, played 55 minutes a game. Back then, Ironman football, playing both sides of the line. Bill Gunlock, his offensive line coach, I spoke with him to get his thoughts. He said, and he was a line coach of Ohio State, who were national champs as well. And he said, Bob's the best lineman I ever coached. Frank Lauterbur, his defensive line coach, who came to West Point from the Baltimore Colts, where he coached such greats as Big Daddy Lipscomb and Artie Donovan, said Novogratz was probably the best defensive player I ever coached. In his senior year, the big man was All-American. He received the Newt Rockne Award from the Washington, D.C. Touchdown Club and the LA Times Award for Outstanding Lineman in the Nation. Bob's a member of Northampton High School Hall of Fame, the Lehigh Valley Hall of Fame, West Point Hall of Fame, and now a proud member of the Blair Hall of Fame. Woohoo! I said I didn't want to be sappy here. I mean, I can tell you my father's got incredible integrity and a work ethic. He's got lots of love for family, for friends, for God, community. He's been an incredible role model to me and my 6 siblings. But I'd rather more just talk briefly just on the connection to Blair, and that's, my dad probably would have done okay in life if he didn't make it to Blair. It's not clear what he would have done, but he had the right makeup as a human being. But Blair gave him the support the skills, the support, and development as a man, a person, to help him get to not only become an All-American football player at West Point, which is great, to become an officer in the Army, serve 30 years for his country, marry my mother, raise 7 kids. Blair gave him the opportunity and support, and he ran with it. And for that, I thank you, Blair. With that, I'd like to introduce my father, Colonel Robert Martin Novogratz. We call him again, the big man.
Say hello to Mr. Fortunato. My son Michael says he's a world-class headmaster. Part of my family is here in Kentucky. We have 7 kids and 21 grandkids. Try to coach the partner. I'm honored, humbled, and privileged to be inducted into the Blair Hall of Fame. A lot of great athletes have passed through these halls. Many still do. Blair played a part in making every one of them. The school gave me many gifts. I had the chance to play on an undefeated team under a great coach and staff. Even more important, I met a number of men who believed in me, who spent time with me, and taught me to believe in myself. That was the biggest gift of all. Like John said, I grew up in a Pennsylvania mill town, the son of immigrants. My father packed cement in a boxcar all day long. My mother worked in a dress factory. They didn't have a lot of time to play with the kids. I worked 3 jobs in high school. I delivered ice, I worked for the shoemaker, and I set up pins at a bowling alley. So I didn't have a lot of time either. I saved enough to pay part of my Blair tuition, but couldn't have attended Blair without the support of Mr. Theodore Kappas. His son was in our class, a man I didn't even know. His philanthropy gave me a hand up, and that hand up changed my life. I entered Blair as a skinny kid with little understanding of the world and wasn't sure I fit in. I wasn't even sure I could make the team. When I was feeling especially low, Steve Cook came over to me one day, put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Don't worry, Bob, you're going to be okay." That's all he said. That's all he needed to say. Right there, right then, I knew he had my back. I knew I was going to be okay. Then there was Mr. Dolly, the wrestling coach. I never wrestled before, but he saw something I'd not seen in myself. With a lot of patience and determination, he worked with me and taught me the basics. Soon I had the privilege of wrestling as the team heavyweight. And in college, wrestling would be a big part of my life. Today, through my sons and grandsons, it still is. And finally, Coach Jim Pender spent a lot of time teaching me how to throw the discus. Each of these coaches taught a young man what it took to be an athlete. More importantly, they taught me about the game of life, the wisdom of preparation. Through them, I learned the value of sacrifice. They reminded me in new ways of what my parents had taught me, that hard work equals success. I wanted to make them proud. None of us succeeds alone. I also had excellent teachers at Blair who taught inside and outside the classroom. My math teacher, Cap Steckel, once told me he had been to the game on Saturday with a friend. He said, when you made that play in the third quarter, I turned to my friend and said, Bob Rubenbratz is going to be a football player. That may sound like a strange story, but Cap Steckel was the first person to tell me I was going to amount to something, could be a real football player. Every kid in the world deserves to be told they can lasso the moon. Those men gave me confidence, but they also demanded that I build the skills and discipline to turn that confidence into action. They helped me gain a greater sense of self and of mental toughness. They reminded me that I was part of something bigger, and that they would always be in my court. It's hard to believe I spent only 1 year at Blair, but a year can change a person's life. The scholarship, and equally as important, the time and support, the care and coaching of so many underscores the importance of giving people a hand, of believing in each other. I will always be grateful for my year at Blair and the gifts it gave me. These are gifts that no one can take away. The induction into the Hall of Fame is a forever reminder that we exist and we thrive because of those around us. And it is my privilege to accept this honor on behalf of all who have helped me, and so many others, to be our best selves in a world that needs us all to thrive. Thank you very much.